Okay, there we go. We're live. Hello, everybody. Good morning. How are we doing today? Oh, there's the connection problems that I was expected. What's this all about? There we go. Okay, good morning, everybody. How are we today? It is Monday, the 17th of August, and I'm back. I'm back for another breakfast stream. Hello, TikTok. How are you doing this morning? You know the drill by now. We'll have a chat. We'll do some puzzles, New York Times puzzles. Talk about what we're up to this week. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. It is, finally, for the first time in I cannot remember how long, it rained. It actually rained in the UK. I know, shocking, I know. It rained here yesterday. It's lovely and cool this morning. I cannot remember the last time I woke up in the morning and I was like, oh, it's quite cool today. So I'm happy about that. Very grateful for that. We'll see how long it lasts, I suppose. Hey Ted, how are you doing? Good morning. Now we'll see how today's stream turns out. Last week's breakfast stream was actually quite busy, which was unexpected. It's kind of hit or miss with the breakfast streams. You never know what kind of viewership you're going to get, but it's good to have you all here. As I say, it's going to be... It's a fairly busy week for me this week. We got Multiplayer Monday today, more Tycoon Tuesday tomorrow, so more Planet Zoo and Open TTD. Looking forward to both of those. Wednesday, I'm out for the day. I'm going to the Lincolnshire Wolds Railway in Lincolnshire, in Thorsby, I think it's in. Thursday, day off. Friday, farming sim. Saturday, simulator Saturday. So it's a fairly busy week. Just got to Southampton. Nice one, Ted. Nice one. Oh, my hair's not looking great today. Need a bath. It's the heat, which has finally gone. So, but no, my hair is not the easiest to manage at the best of times, but in this weather. How are you doing, Saul? I'm good, Toonish. I'm good. Libertarian guy says, were you the guy that tried to attack the guy taking screenshots of you? Nope, you literally just made that up. I have no idea what you're talking about. I've been up all night, says lol loaded. Oh dear. Because of the heat or some other reason? Due to leave about 1933 tonight. Nice one, Ted. Well, have a great day. Have a great day in Southampton. I'm going to try and comb a little bit. I mean, I could just do that. There we go. That's better. kind of. Speaking of trains, by the way, I've finished my train sim project. It's actually finished. My Durham Coastline project that I've been working on for the past 16 months. I finished it yesterday. Finished the modelling all the way down to Sunderland docks. Big moment. Big moment. Very happy to have finally gotten it done. It's going to be getting published by the end of the month. So if you're a Train Sim Classic player, keep your eyes peeled on Alan Thompson Sim. I'm going to be releasing my Durham Coastline project in a couple of weeks' time. I'm just working on the scenarios, but I'm really proud of it. It's an update for a route that's already in the game, so I've added in new scenery and models and stuff like that. Over 200 original assets, which involved a lot of work in Blender. There's a new station at Hordon. There's a 2-mile extension to the Port of Sunderland from Ryhope Grange sidings. I'm very proud of it. Like I say, 16 months on and off I've been working on it. Lots of modelling, lots of route building, lots of texturing and other stuff. But I'm very pleased with the result, and it should be getting published in a couple of weeks' time. Morning, Sophie. How are you doing? What year are you living in? Says FBW2. It is 2026. Last I checked. Not sure where that remark's coming from. Do I dress old-fashioned or something? I don't know. In my book, it's 2026. You still playing that lorry simulator, says lol loaded? Not at the minute. I'm not playing Euro Truck this month because we are doing something a little bit different. We've been doing a new series called Tycoon Tuesday. I've been playing Planet Zoo and Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe. We're going to be doing some more of that tomorrow, but next month Euro Truck is probably going to be coming back as well. It's so hard to balance all of the games that I want to play these days. When I first started streaming, I played Minecraft, Euro Truck, and Farming Sim, and that was it. I just played those 3 games on a loop. Now I've got 20 different games that I play regularly, and loads more suggestions that people want me to play. I've been playing Minecraft, I've been playing Euro Truck, SnowRunner, Farming Sim, Stardew Valley, Factorio, Satisfactory. Today we're playing Are We There Yet and Left 4 Dead. I've been doing, on Horror Wednesday, we've got Escape the Backrooms, we got Penumbra Overture. On Saturday we've been doing Train Sim, we've been doing Fast Food Sim, we're doing Gas Station Sim. Sundays we've been playing Subnautica, we've also been playing Portal. We played Portal 2, we played Portal Stories Mel. It's just so many games to manage, and like I say, when I started out, it was just Minecraft, Euro Truck, and Farming Sim. I just played those 3 games over and over again. And it's so difficult. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I've got the hardest job in the world, because it's not. You know, at the end of the day, I am just sitting and playing video games. But it's such a difficult balancing act to play all the things that people want me to play, and play all the things that I want to play as well. Like I say, there's just so many things to play. So sometimes I have to be like, right, we're going to take a break from this game, and that's why we're not playing Euro Truck at the minute. We're taking a break from it so that we got time to do other things, and we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. Really cool you finished though. Always a great feeling after the hard work. It is. Thank you, Toonish. Thank you. I'm thinking at the start of September we'll do a special Train Sim stream so that I can show off, basically. Because I always like to show off my work. Nope, that's far too hot. Anyway, what's everyone else up to? What are your plans for the week? Anything good? Going anywhere? Doing anything? like I say, I'm going to be streaming today, tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. And Wednesday I'm going to the Lincolnshire Wolds Railway. Very short railway, Heritage Railway in Lincolnshire. I don't know if it's shorter. It might be shorter than the Middleton. Middleton is in Leeds. That's where I went last month. I think it's probably shorter. It's also just a perfectly straight line, which is hopefully it should still be a good time. You know, it's not just about the railway itself, right? It's about the engines as well, and they've got a pretty decent selection of locos there, so should have a good time. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to the Wensleydale Railway in Northallerton. And I am hopefully also going to Barrow Hill Roundhouse because they've got a special Lego event on. It depends if I can get there or not, though, because it's even though it's really close to me, it's only in Chesterfield. It's quite awkward to get to from Doncaster. Wonder if I could take the tram. If I get the train to Sheffield, get the tram from Sheffield to Halfway, and then a bus from Halfway to Barrow Hill. Sounds like a plan. Any excuse to take the tram. We don't have trams in Doncaster, so any opportunity I get to take a tram, I'm taking it. We used to have trams in Doncaster, but then again, so did literally every town in the UK, right? And maybe one day we will again. There's been talk in the last few years about potentially extending the Supertram network to Doncaster. I don't know how likely that is, but, you know, people didn't think that it'd extend to Rotherham, and it does. If you're not from South Yorkshire, this is all just absolute waffle that I'm talking right now. But Sheffield Supertram is a tram network in Sheffield. I think it's one of the oldest, like, continuously operating tram networks in the UK, right? Because not many UK cities have trams these days. But Sheffield does. Sheffield's clinging on. It was the first tram network in the country to have a tram train, which is a tram that also goes on regular train tracks and like goes onto the national rail network. Again, I'm chatting a load of bollocks for anyone who's not interested in trams, so I'm going to stop. I got waffles. Nice one, Sophie. Enjoy. I've just got my usual coffee again. You know, we call this stream Breakfast with Saul, but I never have breakfast on the stream, do I? It's always just the coffee. I don't know, I'd feel weird about eating on stream, though. I don't like to... people don't like to watch people eat. Well, some people do, but it's not that kind of stream. I'm not going to do breakfast mukbang with Saul. Coffee's all you're going to get out of me. Only thing I know about Sheffield is that the Full Monty was set there. Indeed. It's a lovely city, honestly. Lovely place. Famed for its steel, obviously. There used to be a lot of steel production in Sheffield. Not so much these days, but there we go. It's very quiet over on you know where today. I wonder where everyone is. Well, I think P and Scrivy are getting back from their holiday today, so they should be here. Hopefully they'll be here for the evening stream. STFC, I'm guessing might still be at Alton Towers, because I know he went there for the weekend. No Pappy this morning. Wonder where Pappy is. But we got viewers on TikTok, so that's the main thing. Like I say, it's always hit or miss with the breakfast streams. You never know. You never know if you're going to be just talking to yourself for an hour or if people are actually going to turn up. Today, it seems we got a few people, so I'm happy about that. Caught me on a doom scroll, not sleeping. Fair enough, fair enough. That's the thing with the breakfast stream. You kind of... The main audience for the breakfast stream is people who are, like, getting ready for work in the morning. But, you know, there's plenty of other reasons that people would be up at this time in the morning. So that's the thing. I'm here to take advantage of, you know, the people who are on their way to work, people who are, you know, getting ready for college, people who just haven't slept, people who are, you know, just getting home from work because they've been on an all-night shift. You know, that's it. That's the audience that I'm trying to capture at this time in the morning. Most people are busy this weekend. I know Mega Rocker will be on tonight. Ah, fair enough. That's good. Mega Rocker's doing well for himself. He got affiliated recently, so congrats to him. This is 7 in the evening as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Is the music loud enough, by the way? I never know. I never know if the music is... Sometimes it's way too loud and it's like drowning out my voice. Sometimes it's too quiet and nobody can hear it. It's quiet, but just chill in the background. That's good. That's good. Speaking of, also, Saturday's stream went quite well. I was quite happy with the stream that we did on Saturday. It was very quiet. Again, a lot of the regulars were busy, but we did a we did a sort of less organized stream. We did a more chill stream, kind of like this, but in the evening. We watched what was the name of the video? We watched 40 Japanese urban legends by Blame It on Jorge. That was a good video. I enjoyed that. It was nice to do something different. You know, I do so many gaming streams and they're like kind of very organized, very like well planned out streams. So it was nice to do a stream where it was just like, right, you tell me what you want to do today. Well, I'll just sit here and I'll let you, the viewer, tell me what you want to do. And everyone decided we should go and watch some scary videos on YouTube. So it was fun. It was fun. I do enjoy scary... I enjoy, like, paranormal stuff on YouTube. I don't believe in any of it, personally. But it's always fun to watch. Like, the Japanese urban legend stuff was good. I do like a good urban legend. Oh, hey, Espresso, the only person on YouTube. Good morning. How are you doing? How is it over there? Morning, Rocky Ship. How are you doing? Can I link a TikTok clip? Says D-Money Industry. Sure. You should be able to. I'm good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, thanks for sharing that. D-Money Industry, I'm not quite sure what it means, but thank you. Show feet, says L. Dyson. No, I don't think I will. Not that bad, didn't sleep this night. That part was fun. Oh, sorry to hear that, Espresso. A lot of people not been sleeping well recently. You know, the weather... It's just not sleeping weather, you know? But it's nice. It's lovely and cool this morning. It finally rained here yesterday for the first time in weeks, so I'm happy about that. My camera's gone out of focus. What you done that for? God, I need a better webcam. I need to get that. I need to get that Facecam Neo that I was supposed to buy like 3 months ago. I don't know if anyone remembers. I bought a new webcam, and it didn't come after like a month, and it turned out that it was out of stock, and they didn't tell me that it was out of stock until a month after I'd paid for it. So I got refunded. Won't be shopping there again. But so I was supposed to get a new webcam earlier this year, and it ended up not happening. But I still want to get one. It's still probably going to be the Facecam Neo because I've heard good things about it. This webcam's not bad. The problem is it has focusing issues. Sorry, I've got a hair on me. It has focusing issues, and also it doesn't do very well in low light, which sometimes I have to play in low light, you know? It's pouring rain for me, says Toonish. Oof. I mean, good. You know, it depends on your perspective. I'm happy about it. I'm glad that it's raining. The only thing is, there's probably going to be a lot of flooding, you know, because we've had a drought. The ground's very dry. It's not going to soak up any of the water, so I predict we could see quite a lot of flooding happening in a lot of places very soon. But for now, you know, enjoy the rain while you can before it turns against us. Alyana says, hope you're doing good. I wanted to ask if I can create some art and stuff for your channel. I'm okay, thank you, Alyana. Thank you very much for the offer. I'm okay. I do all my own graphics for my channels, and I'm a bit of a graphic designer myself. It is something that I personally am quite interested in, so I appreciate the offer. I get this a lot. I do get a lot of a lot of up and coming graphic artists asking if they can like do stuff for my channel, and I appreciate the offer, and I'd love to help you out. But you know, like I say, I'm happy with the graphics that I've done myself for my channel. But good luck with the graphic design. It is fun. Like I say, I enjoy doing it myself because it is fun to do. You know, it's a fun thing to get into. Are you on HRT? Says Isla. I'm not, Isla. No. I would like to be one day. That's the plan. But I'm not in any rush. It's I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I feel comfortable enough without it. It is something that I intend to do eventually, but it's not like a matter of life and death. It's not to the point where I've got like really strong dysphoria and it's something that I need right now, you know what I mean? When I was in hospital, 2 people decided to, like, fully row with all the nurses, doctors, and security. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, Sophie. I mean, we've all been there. We've all seen it. If you've ever been to A&E for any reason, there's always someone there who's, like, loudly complaining about the fact that they have to wait. And it's always someone with a really trivial thing as well, like, oh, they've got their fucking hand stuck in a toaster or something. You know, it's always someone who's there with the most trivial, like, injury imaginable, and they're, like, baffled by the fact that they have to wait for 7 hours. Like, I'm sorry, you don't take priority. But I think a lot of people just don't understand how triage works. They don't understand that people who have more serious problems are going to get seen first. If you're turning up to A&E because you fucking grazed your elbow, yeah, they're going to make you wait a long time. And like I say, there's always someone. I've been to A&E, I think, like, once for myself. Like when I was younger, but I've been a couple of times. I've taken my mum a couple of times to A&E, and it's always there's always somebody. There's always somebody there making a scene, causing a fuss. You know, loudly ranting about how long they've got to wait. To any other trans woman, it is a life or death situation. To a lot of trans people, it is, Isla, yes. A lot of trans people, it is, you know, gender dysphoria is to such a degree that it is, like, necessary very urgently for them to take HRT or to have surgery or whatever else. I am fortunate enough, as I say, to not be in that position. I don't really feel it that strongly to that point. It's something that I want, and I definitely, you know, do feel dysphoric about my figure and stuff like that and the way I look. But again, it's not to that point with me where it's, you know, if I don't do this right now, I'm gonna be depressed. I'm lucky in that regards that I have the luxury of being able to wait. You know, a lot of trans people don't. A lot of trans people don't have that privilege. A lot of trans people, they need it now. But for me personally, it's I can afford to wait. You know. Are you really trans then? Nope, we're not playing that game, Isla. Thank you for joining. I suspected that's where it was going. Go away. We're not having a debate about trans medicalism today. Sorry. If that's what you were trying to angle for, it's not happening. And for the record, no, I'm not a trans medicalist. No, I don't believe that if you aren't transitioning right at this very moment, then you're not transgender. That's a very, very stupid way of looking at it, to be honest. I completely understand that a lot of trans people have very severe gender dysphoria. A lot of trans people are in a position where, you know, if they don't get the care that they need right now, it is going to cause severe depression and other mental health problems. That does not mean that any trans person who isn't taking HRT is lying about being trans. We're not having that argument, Isla. So thanks for joining. You're blocked. I get these kind of comments from time to time, and I have spoken about it in the past. But just the fact that I've been out for 5 years, the fact that I've lived as a woman for 5 years, and I still get trans medicalists saying like, "Oh, you're not really trans because you're not taking HRT." I have been out for 5 years. My entire family knows that I'm transgender. I go out in public as a woman every single day. Well, not every single day, but every time that I do go out of the house. I've changed my legal name, and I'm in the process of, applying for a referral to a gender identity clinic. So yeah, let's not play that game. Let's not bring trans medicalism into it. Again, I understand where it comes from. I think I said I didn't want to turn this into a discussion about trans medicalism, and I don't. But I can kind of see where it comes from. I can understand how a trans person who is on HRT, a trans person who has like more severe dysphoria, I can understand how somebody in that position would look at a trans person who isn't on HRT and think to themselves, well, if I had to do it, why don't you have to do it? But to me, that's just turf rhetoric. That's like a transphobe saying, "Oh, well, you're not a real woman because you haven't had the same experiences as me, a cis woman, right? If you haven't had the exact same experiences that cis women have had, then you're not really a woman at all." It's the exact same thing, right? It's the exact same thing for a trans medicalist to say, "Well, I've taken HRT, I've had surgery, so if you haven't, you're not a real trans person." It's just the exact same logic, right? I can't abide by it. We're not gonna, like I say, we're not gonna entertain it here. This is a safe space for all trans people. I'm not gonna sit here and say if you don't take HRT, you're not trans, and I'm not gonna entertain anybody who does say that. Too right. Everyone has their own journey. Very true, Silly Max. So thank you. Espresso on YouTube says, "Why are you not on HRT? I understand not really needing it now, but if you want it, what's stopping you?" That is a good question, Espresso. That is a good question, because I do, normally when people ask me, I always give the same answer. I want to, but I'm not right now. Why am I not right now? That's a good question. Money. Money is the biggest factor, to be honest. I live in the UK, where you can get you can get gender affirming care, you can get treatment on the NHS, but it requires a very long wait. The waiting lists in some parts of the country, waiting lists are in excess of 24 years. Now, I don't know anybody who has actually had to wait that long. That's kind of like the theoretical wait time in some parts of the country. But it's still a long time. There are, most trans people are going to be waiting 5 years plus before they even get seen by an NHS doctor. And unfortunately, I am not in a stable enough financial position right now that I can afford to do private healthcare. So it really just comes down to money, to be honest. And like I say, I'm lucky enough that I don't need it urgently. Which is why I'm not in kind of a desperate race to like, oh, where am I going to get the money? Where am I going to pay for this? Like I say, I'm lucky enough that I can be like, right, I'll sit tight and I'll wait until I can afford it, and then I'll do it. And again, a lot of trans people aren't so lucky. A lot of trans people, it really is a matter of life and death. It's something that's absolutely necessary, very urgently. And if you're in that position and you can't afford it, I can't imagine what that's like, right? I can't afford it, but I also don't need it so desperately, so I can afford to wait. You know what I mean? That's how I've always looked at it. It's something that I'll do when I have the financial stability to do so. And again, I'm lucky enough that I have I kind of have the privilege of being able to wait, because it's not my dysphoria isn't that extreme that I need it immediately. So thanks for the question, Espresso. Okay, it is 25 to. We'll give it another 5 minutes or so, and we'll go and play some New York Times games. If there's anything else anybody wants to discuss, any questions, any, topics of discussion. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I mean, if not, we can go and play the games now, if people want to. It's fine by me. But it still looks like I'm out of focus. I don't... Is it? Is it the coffee cup? Does the coffee cup cause my camera focus to shift? I think it does. Yeah. Look, you can just see if you look at the map in the background. You can just see the light level change when I lift up my mug. It's the coffee. The coffee's messing with the webcam. This is what I mean. The focus, the autofocus on my webcam is not great. Like literally, just me holding up my coffee cup to my mouth causes the webcam to refocus. No job, of course, says Jade. Oh, sorry to hear that, Jade. Get one. 5 years, says Jay. So during COVID, you had a good time to really think on your decision. Yeah, COVID is when I came out, actually. Well, no, I came out in 2021, which was just after. But I do think that, being isolated for a long time and kind of being left alone with your own thoughts, I think that's what helped me to understand myself a bit more and to come to that conclusion. A lot of trans people came out during COVID, right? And I think some people see that as, oh, you were bored, so you became transgender. It's not that. It's more that you have more time to reflect on things. Life is, modern life is busy. People are busy. People are doing things, running about here and there, running errands, day in, day out. People don't have time to think about themselves and care about themselves. And I think that's why a lot of people came out in that time, because it was kind of a once in a lifetime event where for several months people were sat with their own thoughts. For the first time in their lives, a lot of people were given that time to reflect on things, and I think that's why there was a big spike in people coming out during that time. But of course, certain people will try and spin it a different way and be like, oh, well, you just came out as trans because you were bored, because you were stuck in the house for 6 months. Like, okay, if you want to take that much less charitable interpretation, then fair enough, you can believe that. It's not true, but you can believe it. Webcam quality isn't that great, says Espresso. Yeah, I know. Like I say, I am going to be getting a new webcam hopefully soon. I was going to get one a few months ago, but it didn't work out. But I'm aware that it's not the best. Hi, Darcy. How are you doing? You're lagging and a bit delayed. I'm sorry about that, Darcy. I also have quite bad internet at the moment. About 3 months ago, my internet started playing up. I'm with EE, by the way. And I reported it to EE. I told them that I was having internet problems. they said that it was a problem with the connection to the house, and that they were going to send someone out to do it. Then they didn't send anybody out. Like 3 times they rescheduled. 3 times they said that they were going to send somebody out, and all 3 times they didn't. Eventually I rang them back and I was like, look, I'm having internet problems. You've told me 3 times in a row that you were going to send someone out to fix it, and you haven't. What's happening? And then 5 minutes later, she typed some shit into the computer and she said, well, actually, it looks like there isn't a problem on our end. What? What do you mean? Like, she told me to my face, over the phone, she told me, I've just looked up your address in the computer, and according to this, your internet is fine. Okay, but I'm in the house, and I'm telling you that it's not fine. So, but basically, just called me a liar. I rang up to tell them that I was having internet problems, and they basically said, no, you don't. And that was 3 months ago, and I've rang back a couple of times. They still haven't fixed the problem. I am going to be switching broadband, Darcy. I've got another 3 months on the contract. And I know, before anyone says, oh, well, you know, if you go with these people, they can pay for your cancellation fees. I know. I've just got so much on my plate right now that I don't want to... I can't be dealing with it. I would sooner just wait until my contract is over and then switch to a different service provider. So my contract expires in a couple of months' time. I am going to be switching to a different internet service provider. Like I say, the problems with EE are well known at this point. If you're a regular viewer, if you've been watching for a while, you'll know exactly the kind of problems that I've been having. Connection just randomly dipping, you know, lots of lag and stuff like that. So I will be switching, but it's just less hassle for me to see out the rest of my contract rather than paying the cancellation fees and what have you. Silly Maxa says, I just realised I like dressing and being perceived feminine was during lockdown too. There you go, see? There you go. I do think it was because people, for the first time, had that opportunity to be alone with themselves, right? And to think about things. Like, looking back at my teenage years, those feelings were always there. I always had these, like, body image issues and... you know, feeling a certain way about my masculinity and stuff like that. But because I was busy, because I had school and then college and then university, there was never a time in my life where I had enough free time to really sit down and think about those things and process those thoughts, right? And then 2020 comes along and it's like, you can't leave the house for 6 months. So it's kind of, you know, for the first time in my life, I was able to actually think about those things and process those feelings that I'd always had, but I'd never had time to, like, stew on them, you know. So yeah, I do think, you know, do I think if COVID had never happened, I wouldn't be transgender? No, obviously not. I still would have come out. It would have taken me a lot longer to realise, I think. You know, I might not have realised until much later in life that I was trans. I do think it was kind of a push. You know, it was the push that I needed to finally sit with myself and say, right, why am I having these feelings? So yeah. And I think that's true for a lot of trans people, and you know, not just trans people, but any you know, any kind of queer people, any people at all, really, anyone who made, you know, quite big life-changing, changes during COVID. I think it's all for the same reason. It's all because you were alone for the first time, and you know, were kind of. You had time to reflect in a way that you didn't have before. That's how it was for me, at least. Anyway, it's 7:45. We are going to be finishing up soon, so let's go and do the New York Times games, as usual, before we finish. Go ahead and get this launched. Okay, there we go. So, as usual, before we finish the breakfast stream, we're going to play the New York Times games. We'll start with Wordle, as always. There we go. I'm ready for this. Wow, it is slow. Okay. Beat the bot. Can you solve in fewer moves than the Wordle bot? Okay. Let's try it. Well, I'm going for my first guess. My first guess is always audio. By the way, if you don't want spoilers for the Wordle, tune out now. Thanks for joining. Okay. An I and a T. Some people come out in stages, says Jay. Were you bi then gay or into women, or was it a day and night switch? I don't want to say day and night, because again, there were signs there. There was always kind of I always had feelings that I would interpret as gender dysphoria. You know, I always felt very uncomfortable with my body and stuff like that, and I never felt like I was, you know, a particularly masculine person. I always kind of aligned myself more with femininity. I always kind of felt that there was something wrong, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. So it wasn't night and day, but I wasn't like gay first. Like I thought that I was a straight man, and then I eventually realized that I was a trans woman. But yeah, like I say, it was, in a sense, it was night and day, because there was kind of a moment of realization where it was like, hang on a minute, I'm trans. But, you know, there was a lot of stuff leading up to that realization, if that makes sense. Just things that I didn't interpret in that way until I had that time to reflect. What are you thinking the word is? I have no idea. Flint. Oh, we got an I in the middle. Sophie says, my follow count went up by 5 since I started watching this morning. Wow. Nice one, Sophie. My follow count hasn't moved at all since I started streaming this morning. It went up by 1, but then it went down again, so somebody followed and then unfollowed. Ooh, okay. That's good. So you got an R and an I and an E. It starts with a T, so tribe. Yes, nice. Okay, we did it. Did we beat the bot? Let's find out. Did I minimize the expected number of turns? 91 out of 99. Oh, that's the NYT average though. I thought it was the bot. I thought I was going to compare to the bot. Oh, audio. I knew audio was a good guess. Audio is my go-to starting word because it's got 4 vowels in it. You want to get as many... Right, in my... You know, by my logic, surely you want to get as many vowels out there as possible. So, if you can get a word that's got 4 vowels, that's a good first guess, right? So that's why my first guess is always audio, because it's got all vowels except E. Now, E is the most common vowel, so it's a shame that E isn't in there. But it's a good opening guess. It's a good opening guess. Nice one. Thank you, Silly Maxim. Wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I mean, we got it. If you get it, then it's not bad, right? You cross the finish line. That's a victory. Let's do the connections. Macro, meat, dolly, doggy, Zoom, cattle, fisheye, script, Willy, birdie, patsy, function, huddle, formula, Johnny, and teams. Tommy says, what's a life lesson you learned the hard way? Good question. Good question, Tommy. I mean, I think, you know, as a trans person, I think the biggest lesson is just to, you know, not take any notice of what people say. You know, I think I'm not sure how to word it, but it's kind of taught me to kind of grow thicker skin. It's kind of taught me that, you know, my life and my happiness is not dependent on other people's thoughts and opinions about me. And there have been times that I've been very self-conscious. There's been times that I've been, you know, very worried about how people see me, and I'm over that now. That's I think one of the biggest life lessons of all, right? Is to just stop caring what other people think about you. Just live your life, be a good person, be a nice person, but ultimately do things for your own happiness, as long as it's not at the expense of other people. Try and make yourself happy and keep other people happy, but bear in mind that you can't always make everyone happy. There's always going to be someone, especially as a trans person, you know, there's always going to be someone who's unhappy just because I exist, right? And I can't really do anything about that. So I think that's one of the biggest life lessons that I've learned just from being out for 5 years is just, you know, what people think of you is irrelevant. Live life your own way. As long as the people close to you care about you and support you and are going to be there for you, doesn't really matter what the larger public thinks, you know? Anyway, back to the game. I'm not really seeing anything here that's kind of sticking out. Not seeing anything that's immediately catching my attention. Oh! Macro, zoom, and fisheye are all kinds of lenses, right? But what would the last one be? What game is this? This is The Connections, Jay. Could it be Dolly? There's not really any such thing as a dolly lens, though, is there? I know, like, camera. You can have a camera on a dolly where it's like a rig that lets you move it around, but there's no such thing as a dolly lens, right? One of these is a type of lens. It has to be, because macro, zoom, and fisheye, that's too strong of a connection. I think it's not too obvious, though. Sometimes there's one that's too obvious, but I think if that was the case here, then the fourth one would be too obvious as well. I can't figure out the fourth one, which is what makes me think that this is a real connection. I feel like script, formula, and function could be connected as well. They're all like scripting, programming terms. But again, I don't know what the fourth one would be there. And what about Teams, Meet, and Huddle? And Zoom. These are all like apps, like conference apps, right? Yep. The fucking lens thing was the lens was a red herring. Oh my god, the lens thing was a red herring. God, for God's sake, that's so annoying. I was so confident about the lenses. That's how this game gets you, I'm telling you. That's what it does to you. I should have known. I should have known it was too good to be true. I should have known it was too obvious. Wait a minute. This is going to be... I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark here. The purple category is always a complete piss take, right? It's always something really stupid like, oh, they all start with the first three letters of an element in the periodic table, or some bullshit like that, right? Now I'm seeing cattle, fisheye, birdie, and doggy. And I'm thinking, these are all words that start with the name of an animal. Cat, fish, bird, and dog. That is exactly the kind of thing that the purple category would do. So I'm going to guess it. I'm a fucking genius. I knew it. I knew it. Okay, good, good. Willie, Dolly, Patsy, and Johnny. There's got to be a connection there, right? They're all names ending with E. First names of country music legends. Oh, right. Dolly Parton, Johnny Cash, Patsy... Oh, I forget. What's her surname? And Willie Nelson. Oh, that's unfortunate, because I can't remember her last name. Anyway, and then the last one is going to be macro, formula, function, and script. Spreadsheet features. Ah, spreadsheet. That's where the macro comes in. Okay, good. Not bad. Not bad on the connections today. Let's get straight into strands. It's gone 8 o'clock, so we're going to try and whiz through this now. But we got to do the strands and we got to do the mini. Here we go. On a bender. Okay, this is a bender as in, like, a drunk... I don't know, how would you describe a bender in the sense of, like, getting drunk and going out on the town or whatever? I think that's what it's getting at. But also, it could be a pun, and it could mean bend as in, like, things that are curved or bent. Which it probably will be, to be honest. They're always pulling stuff like that. Okay, nothing's immediately standing out to me, so I think we're going to have to get a hint. Knee. Are you joking? I should have known. They're all joints. Yeah, they're all joints. Thank you, Joey. How are you doing, by the way? What's There's got to be ankle. There we go, ankle. Oh, joints isn't in... joints is in there, but it doesn't let me have it, so it must be part of a longer word. It'll be like body joints. Yep. Okay, there's the spangram. Rest in between sets. Nice one, Joey. Nice one. Elbow. Neck. Wrist. Knuckle. Okay, God, that one took an embarrassingly long time to clock that one. Okay, so they're all joints. Cool. Not bad. I don't know how I feel about the hint on this one. I guess they're all parts of the body that bend, right? Because they're all like joints, they're all articulated parts of the body, but not the best hint, I would say. Not the best hint. Anyway, we've just got time for the crosswords. You know the drill. I always do the mini, and I always try and finish it in under a minute. My record so far is 13 seconds, which I don't think we're going to beat, but you never know. On a bender makes me think of going out and getting smashed. Yeah, that's they always give you a hint that's like that makes you think of one thing, but it's actually something else. That was my first thought as well. I thought it was going to be like the names of different alcohols or something like that. But anyway, let's do the mini. Silence, please. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, not a great start. "42 seconds, not bad, not bad." Okay, so not a brilliant start because I kind of blanked on brownie ingredients and gym rep on leg day. And I kind of blanked on all of these until I got to easel. I got easel, and I got, obviously, Bonnie and Clyde. That one was kind of obvious. And then equal and gated. Those were the easy ones. Then it kind of all started to fall into place. Style, I didn't actually get. That one's just there, you know, by process of elimination. Same with contractor's detail, spec. I didn't clock that one. But yeah, not bad. 42 seconds. It's under a minute, so I'll take it. I'm happy with that. Welcome back, Sophie. You've just missed the games, but we just did the crossword in 42 seconds. I only got squat, but I'm literally at the gym. Yeah, fair enough. You got squats on the brain at the minute, I guess, Joey. Not a bad one, though. Not a bad one. I mean, the one we did last Monday, God, it took me nearly 3 minutes because I just completely blanked on all of the words. Again, I always say about the crossword, like, it's easy if you happen to know all the words, right? Like, there is a lot of luck in there. You know, you could be the best crossword player in the world, but sometimes if you just don't know the answers to the questions, right? But this one was good. This one was good. 42 seconds. I'll take that. I'm happy with that. That is, unfortunately, all we got time for today. So let's switch back to the big camera. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. It's been a good one. It's been a good stream. Busy. Not quite as busy as last Monday, I don't think, but it's been a fairly busy stream. Thank you, everyone who's joined, whichever platform you've been watching on today. Crosswords are mad when you're a polyglot. Oh, yeah. God, I can imagine, Joey. Is it easier? Because I feel like there are a lot of... you find words that fit and then they're in the wrong language. I get you. I get what you mean. Is it easier, though, because I feel like a lot of times in crosswords there'll be clues that are like, oh, Spanish word for sleep. You know, I see a lot of clues like that in crosswords where it's the clue is that it's a word in a different language. So I feel like in some areas it could be helpful to speak a lot of languages, but then in, you know, like you say, you're also kind of thinking about words that don't go there because they're from other languages. How many languages do you speak, Joey? I know you speak Japanese, which I also speak kind of. so. But that's it. I speak English and a bit of Japanese. 6 fluently. Wow. That is incredible. I would love to speak so many different languages. I'd love to be a polyglot. My Japanese is intermediate at best. Same. But there's a few languages that I'd like to learn. I'd like to learn Korean. I'd like to learn German. French. I'd like to learn French just out of practicality. It's not a language that I find particularly interesting. Sorry, French people. But, you know, out of practicality, it's a good language to learn because it's it's one of our nearest neighbours. Currently learning Welsh as I live in Wales now. Oh, that's cool. I would like to learn Welsh. My sister lives in Wales and my nephew attends a Welsh school. And he's learning a bit of Welsh, you know, as part of his education. So I'd love to learn Welsh to be able to chat with him in Welsh. So Korean, German, French, Welsh. These are on my list of languages I want to learn, not languages that I can actually speak. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. But I mean, just learning any other language is an amazing thing. You know, it broadens your horizons. You know, it brings people closer to you when you can speak potentially other languages. Spanish should be good as well. Spanish would be a good one. probably the hardest, in my opinion. Welsh. Is it because of the pronunciations? Because I do feel like there's a lot of sounds in Welsh that are kind of awkward for English native speakers, because they're sounds that don't really appear in English anymore. But I do find Welsh quite a fascinating language. You know, I've always thought Welsh was very interesting. Anyway, when they have 32 different versions of the and a, oh right, I see. So it's a grammatical difficulty. I get you. That's the thing, isn't it? When you learn another language, not only you're not just learning other words, you're learning an entirely different structure of language, and I think a lot of people don't get that. Like when learning another language, when you're learning German, for example, you don't. If you want to translate the sentence "I went to the shop," you don't just learn the words "I went to the shop" and just put them in the same order. You know what I mean? Not only do you have to learn all of those words, but you have to learn what order they go in that language. And I think a lot of people overlook that. A lot of people think about different words in other languages, but they don't think about the fact that other languages have different structures of grammar, which is always a bit of a hurdle. And you have to kind of get used to a different way of thinking. You know, like with Japanese, Japanese sentence structure compared to English is kind of backwards. Like, English is a subject-verb-object language, so the verb goes in the middle of the sentence. I went to the shop. I bought some crisps. I ate a chocolate bar. The verb goes in the middle, whereas in Japanese, the verb goes at the end. So it's I to the shops went. You know, watashi wa... I've forgotten the word. I've forgotten the word for shop. That's embarrassing. Is it Heya? Is Heya shop? No, Heya's room. I've gone blank. That's very embarrassing. I've actually forgotten a very basic word. Kaimono! Kaimono. Well, kaimono shopping, right? But you could say kaimono ni ikimashita. I went shopping. The point is the verb goes at the end. Again, whenever... Right. I always tell people that I speak Japanese, and then when they ask me to demonstrate, I draw a complete blank. It happens every single time, and it really makes it look like I'm lying about my Japanese ability. But I'm out of practice. I don't get much chance to practice, you know. I don't get many people to speak to and stuff like that. Anyway, the point I'm making is, when you're learning another language, you don't just learn the words, you have to learn the grammar as well. And with some languages, you have to learn an entirely new writing system as well. Like, let's not forget that Japanese has 3 different scripts, hiragana, katakana, and kanji. And let's not also forget that they use romaji quite extensively in Japanese as well, which is effectively a 4th script. And then they use Arabic numerals and Japanese numbers interchangeably, which is really annoying because they have a different counting system as well. Like, we count in magnitudes of thousands. So you have 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million. Then you have 10 million, 100 million, a billion. Then you have 10 billion, 100 billion, a trillion, and so on and so forth. Like, there's three orders of magnitude between each division, you know what I mean? Whereas in Japanese, it's 4. You have 10, 100, 1,000, and then you have man, which is 10,000. And then you have Ju-man, which is 10 10,000s. Then you have 100 10,000s, and then you have 1,000 10,000s, and then you have 10,000 10,000s, and then you get to the next order of magnitude. You know what I mean? Like, so they have a different way of counting as well, which it's like I say, it's always a challenge to learn a different way of you kind of have to learn a different way of thinking, right? You have to restructure your brain to think in another language's grammatical structure, which is always fun. Kanji isn't the same as Chinese characters too. No, that's true. Kanji's very fun. It's great that kanji exists. It's great that one day Japan decided we're going to take these characters and we're just going to shoehorn them in to our already existing language. The history of kanji is really fascinating. If you ever tried to learn Japanese, if you ever wondered why kanji have two different readings, onyomi and kunyomi, it's because one is the original Chinese reading and one is the Japanese reading. Basically, I don't want to get into it because we should have ended the stream by now, but I just want to briefly discuss. But what happened is the first written language in Japan was Chinese, because Chinese people came over to Japan and they brought like coins and scrolls and other things that had Chinese writing on them. So the first written words in the country came from China, right? So Japanese existed as a spoken language, but it had no written form. So what they did was they started using the Chinese characters to represent Japanese words. They were like, okay, so in Japanese, the word yama means mountain, but we don't have any way of writing that because Japanese has no written form. So let's just take the Chinese character for mountain and use that for the Japanese word, right? Let's take this character and use that to mean yama. The problem is that character already exists in Chinese and it already has a different reading in Chinese, that being shan. So the solution is keep both versions. So we're going to use this character to mean yama, which is mountain, but it also means san, which is the original Chinese reading. And that's basically why every single character in Japanese has two completely different readings, because there's the original Chinese pronunciation and there's the Japanese pronunciation. And sometimes both of those pronunciations mean two completely different things. Like you're using two completely different words, because they borrowed characters that kind of just looked like what they were describing. Like, oh, we need a word for, you know, what character are we going to use for shop? Like, oh, this character here looks a bit like a shop, so we're going to use this character to mean shop, even though in Chinese it means something completely different, right? It's very complicated, but it's also very fun. Japanese, it's such a fun language because it is such a mixture. I mean, people talk about English as being such an amalgamation of so many different languages. Japanese is kind of the same, but only in writing. Like, the spoken Japanese language is very much its own thing, but the written form of Japanese, it borrows so heavily from Chinese, and there's so much... It's weird. It's weird. Like, you might look at it and think, oh, these characters look like Chinese, and that's because they're borrowed from Chinese, but they're also not the same thing. It's a fun language. It's such a fun language to learn. Conversation makes me think I should try learning Japanese. You should, Jay. It's a very fun language. Arabaito says, there's a lot of loan words in Japanese as well. A loan word is a word from a different language that's used in your language. Like, for example, the word restaurant is a French word that we use in English. There's a lot of loan words in Japanese. Most of them come from English. For example, the Japanese word for restaurant is restaurant. Which, again, is a French word, but it's loaned from English, which is also loaned from French. Arabaito is... Arabaito means part-time job, and it's from the German word Arbeit, which means to work. And again, there's a lot of loan words in Japanese. Most of them come from English, but some of them do come from other languages. The Japanese word for bread is pan, which comes from Portuguese, because Portugal was the first Western nation to make contact with Japan. There's lots of Japanese loan words. There's lots of onomatopoeia in Japanese as well. We were talking about this on Saturday, actually. They have a lot of words that are based on sounds. Oh, hey, Sophie, how are you doing? Didn't expect you to still be live. No, we are going to wrap things up now. I'm sorry we've ran over. I got a little bit sidetracked talking about Japanese, which is a language I'm very passionate about. But we will leave it here for now. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. The conversation has been great today. Tokidoki says, yeah, Tokidoki. Tokidoki means sometimes, but it also sounds like a clock. Tokidoki, Tokidoki. It's the sound of a clock, right? So that's fun. But also, it literally the funniest thing is Tokidoki is actually just the word time twice. So Tokidoki is literally sometimes. You got the word time, and then you've got the word time again. It's literally sometimes, which I think is very funny. There's also a lot of that in Japanese. There's a lot of repetition with words like Tokidoki, and lots of onomatopoeias are repetitive and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going to finish it here. I'm sorry. The conversation has been great. I would love to sit here and keep talking, but I do have lots of stuff to do today, so I'm going to have to leave it here. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. It's been a very fun one. Very great conversation today. Hope you've enjoyed. I will be back this afternoon. We'll be finishing Escape the Backrooms, and then we'll also be playing some more Are We There Yet? And we may do some Left 4 Dead as well if we've got time. Hopefully, we will have time. But thank you, everyone. It's been a good stream. Have a wonderful day.